Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. If you've been following us for a while, you know my name is Alicia. I'm a stay-at-home mom of one. My husband and I have a homestead on 2.5 acres in central Mississippi. We're having a bit of a cool snap the last few days, so this morning I had decided I was going to clean my oven. If you have an oven with the self-clean option and you live in the South, you know that we do not use this option during the summer. So I thought today, being pretty cool, I would go ahead and take advantage of that. I will say my oven is not in that bad a shape compared to other times. But like I said, I wanted to go ahead and do this before it gets really hot and I can have it cleaned one more time before we get into summer. Now, using the self-clean option, it pretty much only needs a good wipe down, and I'm only using water. I don't use a lot of chemicals to clean anymore, and I certainly don't use any inside my oven just because, I don't know, it seems scary. From time to time I do use vinegar and a little bit of Dawn on the door of my oven. It gets kind of dirty, but on the inside, especially when I use the self-clean option, I don't use anything but water. I have a spectator ready to critique my work. I think he was pleased. Dusty's chicken feed garden seems to be doing pretty good, and it surrounds our extra potatoes. In one of our latest videos, we started a lot of our seeds, and Dusty realized he didn't have as many tomato varieties as he normally likes to have. So naturally, he ordered some more, and he's at work today. I thought I would get some of them started for him. The two varieties that I'm starting today are black cherries and white cherries. These are great in salads. Obviously, they're a cherry tomato. I also like to use these to make tomato sauce. I normally put them in the blender or food processor. That way you don't have a lot of tomato skin and seeds. These are not the type of tomato that you want to sit there and peel. They're way too small for all that. But they're very flavorful and they're great for making sauces. I'm hoping to can a lot more this year. I didn't can very much last year, and what I did put up, I wound up freezing instead of canning. Of course, the other day when we were starting seeds, Dusty made some comments about how I didn't put up very much because I was pregnant, and I was huge pregnant by the time of year that I would have been putting up a lot of stuff last year. Anyway. Over the last couple of years, it's become more important to me to can instead of freezing things. Of course, COVID made a lot of people feel that way, but we do have a good bit of storms around here, and we tend to lose power, during hurricane season. I mean, it's very probable to lose power for even a couple of days or more, just depending on how how bad everything is. So you definitely don't want to freeze everything that you put up, because it would be just heartbreaking to lose all of that. So for that reason, I definitely want to start canning more than I previously have. If you do a lot of preserving, let me know in the comments what's your preferred method. What are some tips that you have for canning or for freezing if you enjoy doing that more than canning? And what are your favorite things that you grow to preserve? Hey y'all, I just wanted to take a few minutes today and talk about 5 things that I was glad I purchased when I first started doing sourdough. Some of it you may already have. I already had a large container to put flour in. I have several of these. I actually have 2 that I use for sourdough, and they're labeled so that you don't swap them up, which I've done a couple of times. But anyway, so a large container is a must-have. A bench scraper comes in very handy. You may already have both of these things. I was glad I went ahead and bought a bread lane. You don't have to have this, but I was glad I had it, because part of the point of sourdough whenever you first get into it is you want to make those pretty loaves. And what goes along with that is scoring them. And if you have a good bread lane, it makes that so much easier. Also, something that I purchased that I didn't already have was a scale. Everybody says that you need them. I don't like to measure a lot when I'm cooking, but this was very handy. When recipes called for measurements, which almost every sourdough recipe does, I was glad I had it. I don't use it every time. If you've been watching this channel very long, you know that. But I was glad I had it whenever I first started. I talked about how I made my own sourdough starter. And to start with, I did measure. I did weigh my flour and my water to start my sourdough starter. And I want to say about a week in, I stopped doing that. And I just went by the consistency of the starter. And my starter turned out fine. But that's not the case for everyone. So I would recommend a scale. And the 5th thing that I got that I would recommend is silicone stirring utensils. I've seen a lot of stuff online about using metal in your sourdough starter, and apparently can cause a lot of problems. I did not have any problems, but this is easier to clean, and I haven't had any trouble with it, and this is what a lot of people recommend, and I was glad I had it. So those are the 5 things: the container, the bench scraper, the bread lane, the weight scale, and silicone utensils. There are other things that I purchased that I don't feel like were really necessary, like the Banneton basket. I don't use it all the time. It's cute. It puts little rings in your bread. Cute, not necessary. I do multiple loaves and I only have one of those. So usually my dough is in a bowl with a tea towel and maybe some flour on it to keep it from sticking. So I do not feel that a Banneton basket is necessary. I also have a Dutch oven. My husband bought me this for Christmas. I had one that wasn't as heavy. It wasn't cast iron. It is very good for baking bread. I do not feel that you have to have one. So I wouldn't put this on the absolutely necessary list, but it's definitely good to have. You want a heavy one that is good for temperatures up to 500 degrees if you're gonna get one. So that's about it. You don't have to have any of these things if you don't already have them. Some of my sourdough friends and I are always saying, you know, sourdough's been around for a very long time, and I don't feel like our grandmothers and great-grandmothers had all of this, you know, and they made it happen. Everything was fine. So do I feel like all of this is necessary? No, I don't. Does it make things more convenient? Yes, it does. As always, thank y'all for hanging out with me today. If you enjoyed this video or found it helpful or useful in any way, please like and subscribe for more.